Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2021, first show of the new year. I hope you had a great holiday, stayed safe and healthy, and maybe you got something neat under the tree, perhaps. Maybe a gift, maybe binoculars, telescopes, maybe a guidebook. Maybe you surprised yourself and did some sky watching. I hope you've been able to go outside. Welcome, Happy New Year to all of you, my stargazing friends, wherever you are around the world. I've got the chat room open, and I see folks all over the place. Marcia from North Carolina, Teresa from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Maria from Jamaica. Happy New Year to all of you. Rebecca. Kevin from Colorado. Hey, Kev, nice of you to join the show today. My gosh, this weekend, did you guys get to see any of those meteors? I'd love to hear from you. Did you see any? I was lucky enough here in Montreal, Canada. We're really into winter time. We're experiencing around -5 degrees, -10 degrees Celsius. Pretty cold, but with that cold, there are periods of time where we get very nice, crisp skies this time of the year. And sure enough, we had the New Year's meteor shower. Did you catch my posts that I was putting out on the weekend, giving you a heads up on the quadranted meteor shower? I know that's a mouthful, isn't it? Quadranted meteor shower. It's hard for me to say that. I like to call it the New Year's shower. It's an annual meteor shower. Comes around peaking January 2nd into the 3rd, so Saturday night into Sunday morning, and I got to see a few shooting stars. How about you guys? Did you guys get to see any shooting stars this weekend? Lots of wishes to be made for a brand new year that we hope is going to be amazing, a lot better than last year, right? But we did some good sky watching last year, I have to tell you, and this year is no different, guys. This year is it's jam-packed with stuff. Every week, as you know, I'm here every Monday talking about what you can see for the week ahead. But I also like to look into the far future too, looking throughout the entire year. And sure enough, what I did is I've got a package, one video that gives you my choices for the top 10 skywatch. And now this was hard for me to do because there's just so much happening. There's literally, I would say, dozens upon dozens and dozens, well over 100 different skywatching events that are going to be coming through every week. You know, there's some good cluster of them throughout the year, 52 weeks in a year. But I narrowed them down to 10 of my top choices, and I'd love to share that with you. I've got a video up on YouTube. Let me share with you my screen. And this is, I invite you to come to my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? I've got videos there for you, the Night Sky Guy YouTube channel. And if you scroll down under the uploads and under my playlist called Seeing the Sky, you will see my latest video, which is the top 10 skywatching events in 2021. So that's just published, just gone live a few hours ago. Check it out. And I give a rundown of what are the top skywatching things for the entire year. And if you scroll down under description and you want to kind of move forward the video, don't forget that I've got a timestamp, time-coded the entire video, so you can flash forward to the different parts in the video for certain dates of the year. So there's going to be eclipses, solar eclipses, lunar eclipses, meteor showers, conjunctions, lots of really neat things. Check that out. That is going to be on my YouTube channel. Now, moving forward, my friends at spaceweather.com put out an alert for a geomagnetic storm that's predicted to occur on January 6th. So this January 6th, which is this week, Wednesday, we might be in store for some auroras. So those of you, my friends, that are in the northern latitudes or far southern latitudes might be in luck for some northern lights or southern lights. And that's all thanks to two explosions on the sun shared here in this video. If I just click on this, NASA provided this video from their satellite that watches this, all the action on the surface of the sun. If you look here closely, you'll see two dark brown filaments, like ribbons, coming off the sun. You see that there? Right there. A ribbon coming off of the sun. I'll zoom back here. That is an explosion that's coming off the sun, and it's shooting off charged particles, and it happens to be heading towards Earth. These giant, these are many times larger than our planet itself, and they're traveling at millions of miles per hour, and they only take a few days, a couple of 2-3 days to reach us here on Earth. And so what happens is that they hit the magnetic field of our Earth, which is kind of like a protective bubble around our planet, and these charged particles get funneled in through the North and South Pole, and guess what? They electrify the atmosphere. They supercharge the atmospheric particles, like nitrogen and oxygen that's in our atmosphere, and it creates these northern lights, just like a neon sign that you would see downtown somewhere in a city above the streets. Those neon lights, this is kind of a cosmic neon light show that we get thanks to these explosions off the surface of the sun. So I want you guys to be on alert. So Wednesday is when it might be coming. Now stay tuned to my Facebook channel, of course, and also my YouTube channel and Twitter. I'm on all over the place, Twitch as well. And stay tuned, sign up, make sure you sign up for notifications, subscribe to my channels, and you'll get notified when I find out that there is, in fact, a good chance of auroras. Right now, because these explosions we know happened on the sun, we know that it was directed towards our planet, there is a chance that we may be in store for some northern lights. So those of you that are in the northern hemisphere particularly are favored. Those are in higher latitudes, like I'm in Montreal, the 45th degree latitude north of the equator. There's a chance that if it's strong enough, this geomagnetic storm, I may be able to see some. So folks even as far south as New York and Washington could perhaps see stuff. Those of you that are in the farther north, like in Scandinavian countries, are in better shape to be able to have a chance to see a light show thanks to these explosions, these coronal mass ejections coming off the sun. So stay tuned to that. That would be, we're Monday right now. We're recording this live stream on Monday, January 4th, and where the prediction is for January 6th, a potential for geomagnetic storms, which means potential for northern lights. So let's cross our fingers. We might have a nice New Year's light show thanks to these explosions on the sun's southern hemisphere. So moving into this week. So we started the week off with a wonderful meteor shower this past weekend and the first days of the year. And here we are on Monday, What can you see in the skies above? So let's move over to our planetarium software, and we've got it set up for January 4th, Monday evening, and right across any day this week. Last chance, and it's going to be a tricky one, to see our friends Saturn and Jupiter. Right there, you can see they are visible soon after sunrise. I'm going to zoom in like this and push it forward in time so that you will need a little bit of a darkness time window after your local sunset to see them. So they're going to be very low. There you go. And that is what you can expect to see. Is Jupiter the brighter of the two, Saturn next to it? Of course, we remembered on December 21st was when they were at their closest. That was what we call a conjunction, that close encounter between these two planets. And here we are in the new year. They're heading very quickly down towards following the sun, and they become more of a challenge to spot in our skies. Again, turning to our chat room, we can see that there is a lot of interest from, there we go. We got Johnny in Scotland. We got John in the UK, Ron in Alberta. Ron says, hi from Alberta. Haven't seen good northern lights for a while here. Well, we're heading into a time period where the sun is becoming more active in its solar cycle. We see sunspots, we see more activity. So cross our fingers. And of course, with the sky this week, very interesting. What I like, the moon is, the moon is usually, I say it acts as a guidepost, and it will this week as well. But it's great when it gets out of the evening sky, because it lets us look at what I call deep sky objects. And for sky watchers, this means things that are outside of the solar system. So imagine looking at objects that are way beyond even the realm of Neptune or Pluto or the Kuiper Belt objects or the Oort cloud that's filled with comets, way beyond that, around other stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Well, this is a great week for that, because the moon doesn't come into play until well into the early morning hours. And so if you go out in the early evenings and late evenings before midnight, your local midnight, you get to see some really cool stellar objects. So things that are beyond our solar system. And if I set this for a little bit later in the evening, so Monday evening, January 4th, what could you see? So there's one really cool thing that if you wait for a little bit later at night, so I would say, let's say around 8 or 9 p.m. local time, maybe even a little bit later to allow this object to go higher up, and you look towards the southeastern sky, and you'll see a super bright star. Now, you can't miss this star. This star is unmistakable. It's called Sirius. It's the brightest star in the entire sky. And it shines very brilliantly, pinning down the low southern skies. For me, in Montreal in a higher latitude, this is fairly low in the horizon in the early evening. But if you are watching perhaps near the equator, around more southerly latitudes from where I am, this star will be higher up in your local sky. But regardless, it's the brightest star, so you can't miss it. And it's called Sirius, and it's the lead star in the constellation Canis Major, meaning the great dog, big dog. All right, that's the big dog or great dog constellation, Canis Major. And that Sirius is the brightest star in the constellation Big Dog there. And just above it, just to the upper right of Sirius, will be a very familiar sight, just so that you know and you're oriented of where you're looking at. I want you to look for these 3 bright stars that mark the belt of Orion, right? You'll see these 3 right here where I have my cursor pointing to. I'll zoom in a little bit. You'll see the names. It's Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka, these 3 stars that mark the belt of Orion, the mythical hunter, right, from ancient legend. And those 3 stars, if you you'll see them, they're very prominently in line. So they're quite eye-catching. I mean, they'll catch your eye because how brilliant. Remember, we're looking towards the southeastern sky late at night. If the later you go out, the closer to the southern compass point that you will be looking at, cardinal point of the south. But if you kind of draw an imaginary line down or to the left of these three stars, you'll hit Sirius. Kind of generally points down in my sky down to this bright star. So this is going to be really neat, easy to find. So you'll spot that bright star. It's the brightest star. Can't miss it. Now, what's very cool is if we zoom in on this, there is a stellar object that's known as a open star cluster. I love open star clusters, guys, because they're fairly easy to spot. Some of them you can spot with the naked eye, like this one. It's a challenge, but you can, and if you have dark enough skies. And with binoculars, it's a cinch. And especially if you have a small telescope, then it really shows off amazing. And this is called M41. M refers to Messier, and that's named after the astronomer, the French astronomer, who in the 1700s, he was a comet explorer and he was looking for comets. And in his search for comets, he identified a lot of beautiful deep sky objects that he marked down in a list of 110 objects. And these are considered standard objects for backyard sky watchers who use telescopes and binoculars. And M41, the 41st object in the list, Messier list, is an open star. And you can see it's in the chest. It kind of pins the chest of the great dog, Canis Major. So it's very close to Sirius, the star. And you can use Sirius as a guidepost. And this star cluster, M41, is a large, bright, open cluster. And check this out. This is what it would look. This is an image taken through what it would look like through binoculars and through a small telescope. Look at that beautiful clustering of stars. And just think about this, that clustering, they're all related. These stars, the brightest stars, there's a background of fainter stars, but you see the bluish white colored stars, those are all actually related to each other. They're siblings. They really are. And they were born in the same cloud. And believe it or not, this cluster is 2,300 light years away. So when you're looking just underneath Sirius with your pair of binoculars, you kind of swing to the lower right of Sirius, and you're looking for this fuzzy patch that's clustering of bright blue-white stars. That is Messier 41. Just an absolutely beautiful clustering of stars. So highly recommend you see that. Now, Suzanne is asking something very interesting. Following Orion's belt, so that's where we started in our journey here to M41, to the right of the Orion's belt, we get to see the Seven Sisters, she asks. That is absolutely correct. And this is why the not the Big Dipper, but the Orion constellation is a wonderful guidepost in learning the sky, because as Suzanne suggests, if we use the Orion's belt of 3 stars here, we would go left of it to Sirius. It points to that bright star. But onto the right, it points out to right up to Taurus, the bull. And you can see the bright orange star Aldebaran and the Pleiades star cluster that Suzanne was referencing. So definitely, this is another open cluster that you can use the belt of Orion to find it. But really, it's this M41. This is my challenge for this week for you guys, using binoculars perhaps. And if you have dark enough skies, this is something that you can try to see, M41, just very close to Sirius. And what's really neat about this is that Sirius, of course, is a bright star 8.6 light years away, and this cluster is 2,300 light years away. We think what's very fascinating, I have to say, is we think that this was seen in ancient times. Aristotle in ancient Greece in the year 325 BC, we think may have actually seen it, identified this cluster with, of course, No benefit of binoculars or telescopes in 325 BC. But he was able to supposedly see it as a fuzzy patch of light, a hazy patch of light with just the naked eye. And if you have dark enough skies, that's something that you can try to do. But with binoculars, even in city limits, easy to do. So that's for Monday. Monday night, January 4th, M41 open star cluster in Canis Major. Give it a try. It's a really nice thing. Now, let's move back. We're on Tuesday, January 5th. Let's stick with deep sky objects. And if we look towards, again, in the evening, towards the southern, southeastern sky, around 8, maybe 9 or 10 o'clock local time, look for Orion and its 3 belt of stars again. But again, this time, instead of going to the left of the belt of Orion, go to the upper right. Draw an imaginary line through these 3 stars that mark the belt of Orion and sort of go up or to the right of those 3 stars. And in an imaginary line, if you keep going, you'll hit Aldebaran, which is a very bright orange star. Not as bright as Sirius on the other side of the belt, but still bright enough, very clearly orange color. That marks the eye of Taurus the bull. We've talked many times before Taurus, so those of you that watch my shows every week would be familiar. You guys would know we go back. There's lots to explore here. But what's really neat, I want you as another kind of challenge out to you, if you have binoculars or maybe a brand new small telescope, is there something called an asterism. And we've talked about asterisms before. What asterisms are basically connect the dots like constellations in the sky between stars that form a pattern. But what's the difference between an asterism and a constellation is that an asterism can be formed from stars that are part of a single constellation, or can be put together by stars that are from many different constellations. So a good example would be the the Summer Triangle is a good example, right? And there we have 3 stars: Deneb, that marks Cygnus; Altair, which is part of Aquila, right? And Vega, which is part of Lyra. 3 totally different constellations, but the brightest star in each of those constellations marks out a point in this giant triangle configuration. But sometimes there's these kind of configurations that catch the human eye, but are much more subtle and smaller and are nestled within a single constellation. And that's what I'm going to show you now. So if we turn our attention to Taurus and the face of the bull, right? So here we are. We have got the face of the bull for us. And the face of the bull is marked out by a very distinctive V-shaped group of stars, which is called the Hyades star cluster. And believe it or not, these stars, with the exception of Aldebaran, are all part of the same group of stars that were born together from the same cloud millions of years ago. And they're slowly separating away from each other, and gravitationally moving away from each other. But from our line of sight here on Earth, they look like they are together in a V shape. But now what I want you to do with binoculars is focus on Aldebaran, and you'll be able to see with binoculars something like that. And I'm going to take off some of these lots of other stars so that we can concentrate on just the stars that I want us to see. I'm going to take the names off too. And what I want you to look at, this is the Hyades. See, I've marked down with a circle the Hyades star cluster. That's what this is. And if you kind of go to the right, sweep with binoculars just to the right, and you won't even really have to sweep too much, because this is the view from binoculars right there. That's what you're going to see. That's how much of the V. And you can see the V shaped like that. If I do, the entire Hyades cluster is visible. And there's Aldebaran right there. Okay, that's Aldebaran. So bright orange star to the naked eye. So what I want you to do is sweep to the right. And with binoculars, and maybe perhaps even with the naked eye you could see this, but you'd have to have dark skies. But with binoculars, a cinch, look for this, what looks like a child's drawing of a house. And if you look carefully, I'm going to mark it out. I wish I could have a line that I could draw through, but it's as you can see my cursor is marking out. This is the top of the house, these 3 stars here. And there's the body of the house down here, right? The square body, kind of like lopsided a bit, like a little child's drawing of a house, right? Like a triangle roof, and here's the body of the house. Look at that. And it's just called an asterism. It's called the house in Taurus. And here you can see 2 stars here that represent what's called Theta, Theta Tauri, and these mark a double star. There you can see it right there. And how far away are they? Well, they are 150 light years away. That white star there is 150 light years, and this yellow one is 147 light years away. So there you go. You can actually see this beautiful pairing that marks the side of the Taurus's house. Now, don't worry, guys. I'm going to post sky charts for all of these things that I'm talking about here in my Facebook page. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe, and make sure you hit the notification so that you will be notified when I post my next sky charts for all of these things that I'm talking about here. And so here we go. We're going to zoom out, and that's where in the sky this is all happening. Look at that. It's high in the southern sky, late at night. So this is what you can expect on Tuesday. Now let's move to Wednesday morning. So let's move to Wednesday morning. Here we go. So we're going to move to where this is late Tuesday. We're in 12 midnight local time. You can see everything's moving, and there is the moon. And so if the moon will rise late after local midnight, but if you want around sunrise, there we go, can move it like that. Just before sunrise, maybe in the early morning, you like to go out for a walk early morning, look for the beautiful waning gibbous moon. It's near quarter. Actually, it should be on Wednesday. I'm talking to you on Monday, but by Wednesday, it will be a quarter moon. Wednesday morning. And look for this beautiful, let me move it forward by a day, and you'll see what I mean. It'll be exactly a quarter. It'll be in the constellation Virgo, high in the southern sky. And what will be neat is that it will be pinned by 2 stars on either side, one above and one below. And if you look carefully, the one below will be a very distinct bluish white star, almost very blue, beautiful blue-white diamond. That's Spica. That star is the lead star, meaning the brightest star in the constellation Virgo. The other stars in Virgo are very faint and a little bit difficult to see, especially in suburban skies. But Spica, no problem, will be super easy. And the moon on Wednesday morning will be guiding you to seeing that. It'll be sandwiched between Spica, which is about 270 light years away from Earth, and Arcturus. Arcturus is another bright star in the constellation Bootes, the charioteer. Very, very nice pairing of 2 bright stars. This one's 36 light years away, Taurus is, while Spica is more than 270 light years away, and they will be on either side of the moon. Spica will be much closer to the quarter moon, this last quarter moon, as we're heading towards the new moon phase in the following week. This pairing will be very beautiful on Wednesday morning, January 5th. So check that out. Now let's move to Thursday. We're going to go back to more deep sky object. And this one is just a very simple look at the big picture of where we live in this universe. And we call our local little corner of the universe, this island that we live in, the Milky Way. You probably have heard of that. And the Milky Way is our home galaxy. That's what we call our home galaxy. It's home to our sun and all the planets. And the sun is just one of probably 300 to 500 billion other suns out there. And we can see the combined light of all of that in the form of this beautiful arc that we call the Milky Way. So if you've been out camping or in a dark countryside, you've probably seen this arc of Milky Way in the skies above. And what's really neat is if we just go on Thursday after sunset and we kind of move into later at night, so again after supper time, 8, 9 o'clock local time, you'll see this arch. And I've kind of zoomed out on my planetarium software here to show you that entire arc. That's this glow that you see stretching above Ursa Major. There's the Great Bear pinning down the north with the Big Dipper, the tail end of the Big Dipper is down here, just to give you an idea. And this glow, this ghostly glow that arcs across, is the Milky Way galaxy. This is one of the arms of the Milky Way galaxy. Remember, our galaxy is in the shape of a flattened pinwheel. So it has arms, spiral arms coming out from a central hub. And that is what you're seeing is one of the arms splayed out in front of us. And what is that arm made of? It's made of hundreds of millions of stars. And I can't even show them to you. Even with binoculars and telescopes, you could just cruise this area and just see countless numbers of stars. And it's really interesting to see because we can see the Milky Way as well in the summertime, but it's a very different part of the Milky Way. We can actually see the central core in different times of the year from now, and different spiral arms as well. So if we harken back to what I was talking about before at the earlier part of the show, Sirius is in the southern sky in the evening, and the Milky Way galaxy is in the background. So if you take binoculars and you sweep up from the southern southeastern sky, sweep up into the overhead sky, that is where the Milky Way is. And it actually stretches all the way down to the northwest sky. So you can see, I'm turning this around, but you can see it really stretches almost from east to west, basically, roughly, this arc of the Milky Way. So on Thursday night, before the moon comes up, in the earlier part of the evening, I would say before local midnight, why don't you go out and see if you can see the arc of the Milky Way? Now, if you live in the suburbs, this Milky Way is going to be harder to see, maybe impossible to see with light pollution. But if you have binoculars, you can sweep that part of the sky. Start where Sirius is in the south, that super bright star, and then sweep upward from it. And you'll see chock full of stars, just countless. I mean, you could spend hours just cruising the sky. If I had warm enough weather, I'd be able to do that here in Montreal, but it's just too cold for me here. But alas, it's a beautiful sight to see the Milky Way stretched above. And you can see Taurus as well. Now that we've been talking about Taurus, to give you an idea, it's just above the horns of Taurus the bull. So something really interesting to see again on Thursday. So how about we move on to Friday? Now, Friday this week, you'll be able to see, I want you to look for another beautiful deep sky object called a reflection nebula. Again, this is something maybe for binoculars, really beautiful sight. And where we're looking at is just above where in the southern sky in Orion. And you look for the 3 bright stars that mark the belt of Orion. Okay. And just above the left-hand star called Alnitak, I should say. Alnitak guides you to what's called a reflection nebula. The official name is M78. Remember that Messier catalog I talked about? Well, this is the 78th object in that list, and it's called the reflection nebula. So a nebula is a gas cloud in space, and in this case, it's about 1,600 light years away. M78 is. There it is. I'm zooming in. That's what it is. And what it looks like through imagery, through beautiful imagery, this is what you can see. So what we're looking at is a gas cloud that is being lit up by stars that are very close by or embedded very close to this gas cloud. And the gas cloud is just lit up like a flashlight nearby, lights up this cloud. So the cloud itself isn't glowing, but we see light from nearby stars that you can see here. Those bright stars are lighting up this gas cloud that's around it. That's what you're seeing. You can see shadows and you can see silhouettes of the cloud. Really beautiful. And what's amazing is that all of this that you're seeing is happening at 1,600 light years away. Now, for sky watchers, if you have binoculars and small telescopes, this is something that you can get to see, again, right above this this left-hand star in the belt. So it's just to the upper left of that, very close by. You can see zooming in. This is about how much with binoculars you would see right there. You can see that. Let me just declutter it a little bit. And there's M78 right there. So you're seeing Alnitak and M78. And I know you're looking at this and you're going, what is all of this? Well, that's called the Horsehead Nebula. Very, very famous. But you really need large telescopes and special filters and maybe even photography to bring this very famous Horsehead Nebula, a dark nebula that's silhouetted on a brighter nebula in the background. You can see that's a bright nebula that's in back, highlighting this beautiful dark cloud that's in front that just happens to be in the shape of a horse's head, right? That's what you're seeing there. So another just an absolutely beautiful sight, but that one is much harder to see. But what I want you to look for is M78 with binoculars. It looks like a little fuzzy patch, and with small telescopes, you'll see that outline of this shadowy nebula. Again, beautiful stuff, I know. This is going to be something that I will post a sky chart for you so you can go and peruse it yourself and kind of see if you could hunt this down. Again, this is for Friday night this week. So now we move on to Saturday. On Saturday, what I'd like you to look for is two planets that are coming together. Again, this is something you can see with the naked eye. Both planets in a dark sky, you can see both. Mars and Uranus, the green giant, are going to be visible in the southwestern sky in the mid-evenings. And on Saturday, they're going to get close enough that you'll be able to see them fairly easily with binoculars. Close enough that through binoculars, you might be able to get both of them just barely in the field of view, as you can see here. In the upper left, I have Uranus, and then down below right, I have Mars. So this is kind of the view that you would have with a low-power binoculars. And with the naked eye, of course, you will see Mars, this orange star. It'll be easy to find because in the southwest evening sky, this is the only orange star there that you can see with the naked eye. So that's planet Mars. And use it as a guidepost to find the seventh planet from the sun, Uranus, this ice green giant world that'll be just next to Mars. So Uranus and Mars, a great pairing for Saturday night. And then we round out the week with the innermost planet. So if we go to Sunday, and I'm going to go right to Sunday. Here we go. Let's see, Sunday. And we do just after your local sunset. Here we go. And what you'll see, of course, first is Jupiter will be guiding you. Look for the brightest star. Maybe use your binoculars for this. And just underneath Jupiter, to the lower right, will be Saturn and Mercury. And I'm going to just go about a half hour after my local sunset. There is the view. This triangular view is going to be really interesting. 3 planets all clustered together in one view. Tricky because it's going to be just after sunset. You got to find a really good, clear view towards the southwestern horizon, but you'll get to see 3 planets. It's a great 3-for-1 cosmic deal, guys. And you'll get to see the innermost planet, Mercury, just underneath Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system, and then to boot, Saturn to the right. So you'll know which one's Mercury. Mercury will be even brighter than Saturn. Saturn's going to be the faintest of the 3. That's unusual because usually Mercury is the faintest of the planets and the most challenging. But Mercury right now is getting towards to become easier and easier to see. By next week, it'll be even higher up, and we'll talk again about it. I'll show you where it is. But try it out. Sunday this week, Mercury will be near Jupiter and Saturn, climbing up there. And it's got to be on your bucket list of the worlds you want to see for yourself. with your own eyes. And it's something you could try to see with the naked eye. With binoculars, easy, but try to see it with the naked eye. It's a fantastic sight. So here we are, guys. A jam-packed week. Again, I told you, every week there's tons of stuff to see. So every week we've got amazing sights. And I'm going to be posting all of these on my timeline. So if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? If you love my videos, if you like skywatching, I will guide you across the entire year. And don't forget to check out my YouTube channel with my new top skywatching events, top 10 skywatching events that I've chosen are must-sees for this entire year. Some of them are more challenging. You may have to travel if you're an adventurous. Maybe by the end of the year, hopefully, we can all travel freely, but and some of them are a cinch to see, and you can see right from your doorstep or your bedroom window. So check that video out on my YouTube channel. I'll post a link in the discussion or the comment section below, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch or on Facebook. Please do support my work by clicking on the subscribe button and follow button. And please do share these videos so we get more people skywatching around the world. Your family and network will love you for it, because what better thing to do than watch the skies that we all share, the same things. All of these things I've talked about, everyone around the world can get a chance to see all of them, or most of them at the very least. Easy to see. A lot of things with the naked eye, some with binoculars, some for the little telescope that you might have, but they're all fairly easy to find. And I will post sky charts for you. So thank you so much for watching. I'll be back on Monday next week with more amazing things in the night sky. And until the next video, of course, I wish all of you clear skies. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.